All right, today we are covering two short stories from You Like It Darker by Stephen King. This is our book club series that we're doing on the book You Like It Darker. And the first one on the list is The Fifth Step. Robert, what is it about?
The Fifth Step follows Harold Jameson, an elderly man who recently retired, but he also lost his wife. Despite this, though, he kind of counts himself lucky, tries to see the good in things. He's a simple man taking simple pleasures in life, like reading the New York Times in print versus digital on his favorite bench in Central Park every morning. One day he arrives at his favorite spot where he meets Jack, who asks him to stay and have a conversation with him.
Yeah, so this one, I would just tag this one as mystery, horror. It's Stephen King, okay? This is about as Stephen King as it gets. So really, I was shocked by this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, dude, so like back when we reviewed Holly, I stated one of the more terrifying aspects of that story to me was that it was grounded in reality in a way that it was something I could see actually happening. Like just an everyday occurrence that could happen to you. And that stuff freaks me out a little bit. Mm-hmm. So if Holly kind of made me afraid of the elderly, The Fifth Step just makes me not want to talk to anybody. I just want to keep it moving.
Yeah, you know, and when we watched, or not watched, but when we read the story last week, and we were talking about how it was very PG in compared to a lot of King stories, the way they set that up and the way this book kind of started felt very similar. It's like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Like, I wasn't sure if this was going to be another, you know, alien thing or what this dude was going to reveal in his life story. But as that's progressing, you're like, okay, well, where's the turn? And this one was extremely short. How many pages was this? Do you remember?
Yeah, this one was only 10 pages, which to me makes it all the more impressive. Like, It's kind of like Stephen King's like, look what I can do in 10 pages, flexing on y'all, man.
Exactly. And so it was just kind of one of those where I was like, okay, well, when's this going to turn? And it turns at the very last minute to become exactly what King is known for, which is like shocking you with just kind of the way that he turns something from kind of normal feeling to tragic.
Yeah. So like Jack, the gentleman that Harold runs into on the bench, he's an alcoholic completing the 10-step program, and he's on step 5, which, taken from the website alcohol.org, the 5th step is admitting to God, to oneself, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So he kind of lures Harold into this conversation like, hey, I need you to be part of my 5th step. And then from there, King kind of like paints this backstory of this character, Jack, that he kind of progressively gets worse as he grows older. But he put a lot of depth into this character for only being 10 pages.
He really did. And it was an interesting dynamic because when he's talking to the older gentleman at the bench, you know, at first he's like, oh, man, I'm going to say yes. Don't really want to. And then as the story is progressing, he goes, okay, well, I don't mind being here for this. Yeah. I'm actually helping this guy, you know, kind of thing. And so you start to feel like, okay, well, what's going to happen with this? And again, you know, it doesn't take long for him to realize I shouldn't have been talking to this guy.
Yeah, I think like it starts off innocent enough. Like he was a kid in school and he wanted to beat up this other kid. So he made up a lie to give himself a reason to fight him, is what he told the principal. Like, this kid says something about my mom. Right. And that kid never did that. And then it like kind of progressively gets worse. Like he graduated through college because he smuggled a key of cocaine to a student advisor for test scores. What?
Right.
And then he embezzled money from his job as an adult, which led him to, lose that job. So he tried to do a fresh start, gets married, loses his second job due to alcohol. And ultimately, from there, it just gets dark.
It does. And so, you know, I long story short, you know, let's just get to what happens at the end. We're talking 10 pages. He ends up stabbing him because he reveals that essentially, he
killed his wife.
He killed his wife. He enjoys killing people. He even says that. He goes, I found something else that I'm addicted to, basically, is I like killing people. And so he stabs our boy with an ice pick and basically leaves him to die. And the dude's grasping for his Times magazine as if that's going to help him somehow. And he just leaves him there to die. And so I guess one of my questions in this was, so he was talking about his sponsor. Remember that?
Yeah,
he was
Randy.
talking about Randy. Yep, the sponsor who has helped him. Maybe I missed this. Was Randy in on the killing part of this?
I don't think so. I think Randy was just like legitimately a sponsor and was telling him to follow these steps.
Got it.
And he was just doing what a sponsor told him to do. Because he even mentioned his sponsor's like, you need to pray every morning. He's like, well, I don't believe in God. And his sponsor said, I don't care. Pray every morning. Right. So he's like, yeah, I've been doing this stuff. And then Randy told me to do X, Y, and Z. So I don't think Randy was in on the killing. I think this is just someone.
Didn't he say something in there though about how he goes, well, why can't you just tell him or tell? He goes, no. He said it has to be somebody else.
Yeah, that's part of the.
Which I know that's right. Okay, okay. I was just trying to figure out if Randy was in on
like the murders and stuff,
in on the murder, like a secondhand murderer. You know?
Gotcha.
I don't know. I'm going to take your word for it, though.
I want to say no because he didn't know Randy when he killed his wife.
Oh, that's true. Okay, that's fair. So really, this is a very cool, very, like you said, I agree 100%. 10 pages, King flexing, saying, hey, look what I've done with 10 pages. What now? You know, he's the man. This book continues to impress me. I'm very entertained by every one of these short stories so far.
Same. I think the cool part about this one is like it was a nice, short, solid payoff in the end, what you want from like a good campfire story. Like something I'm going to sit down with my bros, we're camping, we're telling freaky stories. This is something you could like sit there and tell in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, put your own spin on it. But yeah, dude.
All right. You ready for this lightning round?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. We're going to do this for both the stories today. We got a couple questions that we want to just kind of tag in. 1 minute for each one of these. Could be a little shorter. So first one we have on the docket is, has Stephen given us trust issues with his last 2 books? Robert.
Absolutely. I read Holly, and I still don't look at the elderly the same when I'm out in a park if they ask me for help. In fact, I was at a park near our house with Veronica, and this gentleman asked me to help him with something. He was setting up like he blows these bubbles for kids and just gets tips over by the walking bridge. And I was hesitant to help him, and Veronica's like, help him. So I ended up helping him, but that's what Holly's done to me.
At least you had witnesses around, though.
I did, and it was broad daylight, but that's just how much Holly spooked me, man.
Hey, listen, dude. Stephen King has definitely given us all like you say, he takes real life situations, things that we find ourselves in all the time. You just sit there and talk to somebody. You meet somebody in a park and you chat and just kind of like some little, you know, how you do type chats. Or old people on the side of the road, you see them changing a tire. I mean, come on. Are you not going to get out and help a 70, 80-year-old person? You're going to help them. And King takes these things that he knows that we do without thought and goes, hey, let me make you think about that a little bit. Like, what if you end up in their basement and they're eating your liver? You know, like, what a freak, dude. All right. So next, at what point are you getting up and leaving the park bench? Go ahead, bro.
I'm kind of like Harold, dude. I'm going to be interested. And then when my man gets to the part where he smuggled cocaine in his tire from Canada, I'm going to be like, hold on, bro. You're pushing weight over here? And then probably when he gets to the part where he's like, you know, putting hands on his wife, then I'm probably like, all right, man, hey, it's been real. And then I'm gone. Like, we ain't going to get to the part where, like, she really died. Nah. Oh, you beat your wife? Cool, dude. Hey, good luck in recovery. I got to go.
Yeah, that was a tough one, man. That was a tough one. I would say very similar because at that point, he doesn't have much longer. Harold doesn't have much longer. And pretty much once that's done, he has like another couple sentences before he has an ice pick in his kidney. All right, here we go. All right, we can safely assume that this dude's killing days aren't over. Do you have a favorite serial killer movie, story, anything? Dylan, we'll start with you on this one, my man.
Honestly, one of my favorites is always just a classic, the Scream movie.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good spin on slasher films. There it is.
No.
Oh, wow. He already had it prepared. He even had the hat on earlier. That's crazy. He knew it was coming. It's just a good spin because it's like you have, it's a classic slasher movie, but of course then you have like, was it Stu the whole time that's like talking about slasher films, and he's like predicting
It was
everything. Randy. But like he just comes out and it's like, I don't know. I just feel like overall it's a great movie. Sorry, I'm trying to end it real quick. I don't want to go on a rant.
It's a great movie. There's no rant to be had about the Scream franchise unless Scream 3, but we just act like it doesn't exist.
For those of you who might be just listening to our show right now, you may have noticed a little change in Robert's audio. It's because he's talking through a Scream mask right now. I guess that's your answer as well, huh?
Easy, man. It's by far my favorite serial killer movie, one of my favorite slashers of all time. I watch Scream every single year around Halloween. I'm not as into it as my brother. That dude is big into Scream, but I do love it. It's fantastic.
For me, it's American Psycho. Always love that movie. Such a good one. Such a good one. All right. Last, we always know we have to give 3 words to close out the entire deal. Robert, what are 3 words that you want to close out with on this story?
I have 4, unfortunately. Don't talk to strangers.
Cheated to get that done.
I did.
Hey, mine's just short and pokey.